Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. Today, I'm chatting with Sarah Gilmore, co-author of Integrating Technology, a Holistic Framework for Schools. Like many of us, Sarah has been doing a lot of remote teaching and coaching during the COVID-19 pandemic. In today's Spotlight episode, we talk about the importance of unpacking teacher mindset when it comes to technology. We know that teacher experience and perception of technology will impact their implementation of technology in the classroom. And taking the time to better understand their perspective can only benefit coaches, as well as the teachers they work with. In the full-length episode, we also chat about the power of remote learning to build a global professional learning network, as well as key questions coaches can ask to prompt reflection about remote or hybrid learning experiences for students. If you are supporting teachers in the use of technology for learning, this conversation is well worth a listen, whether you're in a face-to-face or a remote setting. To hear the full episode, subscribe to Coach Better wherever you get your podcasts. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Coach Better podcast. I am super excited to be here with Sarah Gilmore. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
No, I'm super excited. I'm the most excited.
Excellent. We have had a series of conversations over, I think, the last year or maybe longer, and I've been meaning to reach out to you and have this conversation for ages. So I'm really glad that we have this time to chat now. To give all of our listeners a little bit of background, I know you're going to tell a little bit more detail about yourself, but I know you've been a teacher for 13 years, and we connected when you were originally in Germany, and now you're back in the US, where we have another random connection of you being in stores, and I went to the University of Connecticut, so that's a whole avenue of interest. And you're the co-author of Integrating Technology, a Holistic Framework for Schools, the co-founder of Integrate, and the co-host of the EDU podcast, so you've got a lot going on. And I know today we're going to kind of focus in on the world of remote everything. So tell us a little bit about, you can tell us more about yourself if you want, and a little bit about what you're doing now, and then we'll kind of have a conversation about how that is working and how maybe coaches can approach this kind of environment of remote, hybrid, virtual learning in our setting right now.
Yeah, so like you said, I've been a teacher for 13 years. And I started out teaching in Scotland. I'm not actually from the US. I'm from Scotland in the UK. And that's why I have this weird accent, because I've been out of Scotland for a long time and my husband is American. And now I have that thing where you say some words that you're not sure if they're American or not anymore, And so, yeah, I started teaching in Scotland. And then I pretty quickly, after I became a teacher, moved to Germany and started teaching in international schools. And something I think is really important for people to know about me, and that I try and be as upfront about as possible, is that I don't have any special tech qualifications. I studied classical music at university for my undergrad, and then normal primary teaching. And for the first 8 years of my teaching career, I taught grade 1 and grade 2. And that was kind of my thing. And then I leapfrogged up to grade 5 when I was at Berlin International School for the first time there in 2014. And then the next year, they were looking to kind of mix up how they were doing their technology stuff and gave me an opportunity to kind of head that up. And it was a real leap for me because I didn't have any particular credentials or experience in technology. It was just something I thought was interesting and that I kind of had a sort of natural affinity for, in that I'm not frightened of it, which I think is key. And that has been the biggest thing that has ever happened to me, apart from meeting my husband and having my kids. It's a really huge change. But I do think that's something important to say, because a lot of the time, working particularly in the kind of work that I do, which is coaching people to use tech, I get this, how do you always get it to work for you? Or, why don't you get stressed when stuff doesn't work? Or, what magical training did you do? I do get stressed and it doesn't work. And I didn't do magical training. I'm just like you, but doing something slightly different. And so, yeah, that's been how I've kind of gotten to this point. And we met at a really interesting point because when we first started talking, I was still at Berlin International School working mostly for them in this role of tech coach. And now I've kind of transitioned out of school and into running my own business and coaching in this different way. And so as well as like pandemic and the world is ending and the climate and everything is terrible, also there's been a lot of kind of personal and professional change for me in the time that we've known each other. So interesting time to have a conversation.
Tell me a little bit about the questions that you're asking and how you're finding these commonalities in these people, between these people in widely different circumstances. What kinds of questions are prompting a lot of really good discussion? And where maybe do you see teachers struggling? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
One of the places I like to spend time is on the question of mindset, because I feel like this is not a place that ever gets any time spent on it at all, ever, and it's so important, this idea of like how you feel about technology specifically in learning and why you feel that way. Yeah, because for a lot of teachers, well, for all teachers, the point is that we are human beings who are complex and we have a lifetime of experiences and beliefs and ideas. And we have sometimes, I think, this kind of idea that we can leave all of that at the door and just be like teaching robot professional, like I am a teacher, I execute the curriculum or whatever. And even if you do, fully execute the curriculum, you're still a person who brings your uniqueness to the classroom. And thank God, like that's how it should be, because that's also the thing that protects us from kind of random flash in the pan nonsense like brain gym, stuff like that. You need to have this kind of criticality to be able to say, I'm not sure about that, I'm going to think about it. And so technology is one of these things I think that can be particularly, or has historically been particularly divisive for teachers, that they feel very strongly about it, but often don't acknowledge just how strongly they feel about it until they're kind of confronted with something that they have to, And so one of the things I really like to do is explore that, where your mindset, what it is and where it comes from, exploring those personal, professional experiences that have formed who you are and how you feel. Because what we know from, a wide body of research is that the thing that makes the biggest difference in whether and how effectively teachers integrate technology in their teaching in their classrooms is kind of whether or not they want to, how they feel about it. And so if we don't take the space and time in schools to say, how do you feel about it? Why do you feel that way? And what can I as a leader do to help to change that? And to acknowledge, I think the biggest piece is this acknowledgement that the mindset that teachers bring with them to their teaching is valid. If you hate technology, that's valid. You're allowed to feel the way that you feel. But we're professionals, and with that comes a professional expectation that we have to do certain things and we have to engage professionally with the topic and explore it and find a way to kind of get on the boat, and get on the bus and kind of go with it. But it's not reasonable, I don't think, just to be like, do it. You have to do it because it says so here. We have to honor the humanity that people bring. Like, why do you feel that way, and how can I help you? So that is one of the big places that I like to spend some time, is on that conversation, asking those questions. Questions like, have you had any experience of learning in the way you are asked to teach? And usually the answer is no.
It's interesting, we've been having that conversation a lot lately, because one of the big pieces of feedback that comes out from our Certificate of Educational Technology and Information Literacy graduates, our COTEL graduates, is that prepared them to teach remotely in a way they never expected, because obviously this only just happened in 2020. It's not like this has been going on the pandemic has been going on for decades. So they didn't realize that learning in the way that they were going to be asked to teach now would prepare them so well back in the time. And I think that one question, have you had any experience in the ways that you're expected to teach? That should be like the guiding question for a lot of conversations right now, because I think unpacking that fear of having to do something so completely different, and for many educators who have taken online courses and they know what like the standard university online course might have been like for the last 10, 20 years. That's not a positive memory of learning online.
Oh, I did my master's online. It was brutal.
Right?
Awful.
So if you think that that is the connotation that a lot of educators may be bringing to remote learning, just period, already you're starting off on the back foot. And so unpacking that, I think, is a really important start to having that conversation. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If this is a topic you want to dig deeper into and you're ready to explore in your own professional learning, please head over to edurolearning.com to see all of the great professional learning opportunities we have for you. You'll find registration dates for our next cohorts of COTAIL, the Coach, and Women Who Lead, and we only run those programs, each of those programs, once a year, so you want to make sure you know when registration opens. If you're interested in any of those programs, make sure you click on the I'm Interested link so that you can get updates and be the first to know when registration opens. Also at Eduro Learning, we've got self-paced courses if you need to earn clock hour credits for recertification, and we've got downloadable workbooks to help take you through all different aspects of professional learning for you as an individual or working with the team or at the whole school-wide level. If there's anything you are looking out for or any questions you have, please reach out to us on social media. We love hearing from you, and join our Facebook group, Coach Better. See you next time.